Hello and welcome to another episode of Temporary Australians. I'm Jonesy.
And I'm Hirsty.
And this is Maya. This is what we've got coming up on the show.
On Temporary Australians, Jonesy looks closely at last year's breakfast talk in Sutherland. We go for a ride round Mount Panorama at Bathurst. Sam McLaughlin, editor of Australian Motorcycle News, celebrates the magazine's history, and legendary editor, the late Ken Wootton. We find out why former federal speaker David Hawker has joined the Harley Crew. We look closely at the Just Bikes biker build-off at the Sydney Motorcycle Show. Underbelly star Les Hill dreams of owning a Harley. We find out if the motorcycle racing circuit is on the cards at Bathurst. And we go to Harley Heaven, literally.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Breakfast Talk. My name is Brendan Jones. I'm the Jonesy part of wsfm, Jonesy and Amanda, that is. Sometimes I can be both parts, but today it's just me. And on behalf of Sutherland Shire Council, Rockdale and Cogra City Council, St George of Sutherland Ulysses Club and Motorcycle Council of New South Wales, welcome to the 8th Annual Breakfast Talk.
Ulysses have been doing some great work and this has been one of the big events on the motorcycling enthusiast calendar. How did Breakfast Talk actually start?
Well, it started 8 years ago and it's grown each year. It's a partnership actually between the Sutherland, Rockdale and Cogra Council, Motorcycle Council and our club, St George Sutherland Ulysses Club. It's all based on road safety. We wanted to try and bring a road safety message to motorcycle riders, and it's grown each year, more and more things.
And what actual message is that?
Oh, well, how to ride safely, clothing, demonstrations of various aspects of motorcycling. Talks, yeah.
And what do you ride?
Oh, I ride a Harley Davidson.
Oh, nice. What sort?
It's a soft car convertible.
Very nice, very nice.
It is nice.
That's why you got the beard.
Oh, well, it's part of the image. That's mainly, I do trike rides as well.
Oh, okay.
And that's mainly for the image for that. Yeah.
Really? So trike riders have to have a beard? Is that?
No, not really, but like once I retired, I couldn't see the point of shaving anymore.
Okay. Not that you've given up.
No, not at all.
So this event, I remember when it first started back, 8 years ago.
Yes, 8 years ago.
There was like you, me, and a dog, and that was pretty much it. Now it's a huge crowd.
Yes. The efforts of those organisations I mentioned have resulted in what we see here today. And I didn't mention the New South Wales Ambulance Service. They're very much involved as well.
And because they've got the demonstrations coming up.
Yes, crash ride simulation and riding demonstrations.
Ian's been riding for 6 months, but he's about to demonstrate how well he rides at slow speed with the right training. Take it away, Ian.
You'll see in the scenario that will be on later this morning in the middle of the area here that a lot of the time it takes more than 5 minutes to pick you up, put you on a stretcher and get you to a hospital. If you were to come off your bike in the Royal National Park, which is still well within Sydney, the quickest that an ambulance is likely to get to you is probably 20 minutes.
Here's a man that you definitely want on your side. If you come off your bike, Bruce Tyndale, Special Operations, or he just borrowed the outfit, I don't know. Actually, we've never seen any qualifications. Do you have some sort of...
Apparently I do.
Do you have a certificate or anything?
Yes, I've got a certificate.
We've seen the accident.
Yes.
So spectacular in itself to watch someone actually have an accident and not get hurt in these cases. But an accident like that can actually be life-threatening, can't it?
Yes, it can. And the situation is that any motorcycle crash, as we refer to it, has the potential to inflict significant damage. It can be a minor result, that's lucky, but if it does inflict damage, then it's good to have an ambulance on standby there treating the patient.
Going around Mount Panorama full stop is popular with any type of local. So whether that be push bikes, motorcycles, cars, it's a very popular spot no matter what. It's also a very popular spot for tourists. So the amount of tourists we get doing laps of the mountain is absolutely phenomenal. And clubs, we see a lot of clubs or members of clubs coming up and riding around in groups on motorcycles. We see them coming up with car groups as well. So the Ford Club might come up, or the Mustang Club might come up, and they'll do continual laps for a while. And yeah, look, it's a tricky mountain, and until you actually get on it and actually have a ride or a drive around it, you don't really get to appreciate the steepness of the climb and the descent as well.
Mate, tell us about the ride so far.
Yeah, it's been great. Obviously we started at the start line there and took off and into corner one, which is quite a daunting corner at full pace. And imagine being sort of 4 or 5 wide on a bike or a car, diving into that corner. And then obviously we come up Mountain Straight and took the crest and into the mountain corner there, and then up through the cutting. And it's amazing some of the camber on some of those corners. If you have a look at that first corner off the mountain there, the camber changes quite significantly as you round that corner. So it's quite a daunting thing, especially in the wet weather. So at speed, it would be even more remarkable.
Very tight corners too, I thought.
Yeah, definitely very tight. And you can see what I mean by the concrete barriers that are so close to the edge of the track these days. So imagine coming up there and off that camber corner and then straight up into that cutting. It's fantastic to be able to do it at speed, that's for sure. It is quite a wide race circuit and quite open up here on the top, but you'll see as we start to head over Brock Skyline that it narrows up quite significantly. The corners are quite sharp and the concrete barriers are right there by your side as well. So, not much room for error as you're heading down, that's for sure, and that's all the way down through the Forest Elbow as well.
I noticed going down Conrod Straight, it must be 10, 20 years since they've put in that chicane. Obviously that's to slow them down, but it's still a very fast piece of road.
Oh, extremely fast piece of road. I mean, cars get up to near on 300 kilometres going down there. Motorbikes would definitely go probably well over that, I would imagine, over that 300 kilometre barrier going down Conrod Straight. It's a fantastic run into the straight. Yeah, the first corner off into the chase is full speed, so there's no let up there. It's only when you get around that first corner that you actually jump on the hammers for the left-hand turn of the actual chase itself, and then it's back on the gas. But yeah, it was put there as a bit of a feeder, I suppose, or to stop the failures of brakes heading down Conrod Straight and into that first corner, or into that last corner. It's great that it's a public road. Anyone can come out and have a ride, but just got to remember to stick to that 60 kilometres.
Oh, absolutely. Who would think of going over it?
Not me.
So how long has Australian Motorcycle News been going?
60 years. So we celebrated our 60th anniversary not long ago. Did a 260-page magazine in a fortnight, nearly killed us, but it was worth it. So yeah, been around a long time.
That's an enormous. How did it start? If you know the history, you can tell us.
Yeah, George Lynn, he was the founder of it. So he started off, it just used to be a 4-page newsletter basically, and it just evolved into the green horror as people know it. It eventually ended up being printed on green newsprint for some reason, I don't know why, and carried on and then evolved into what it is now, which is a world-class magazine that's known all around the world.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's famous everywhere, and I have noticed besides your emphasis on competition racing, you also cover a lot of the social and cultural aspects of the motorcycle community as well.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, not everybody's into racing. As much as I'm into racing, I'm into other stuff as well. So the motorcycling world is very broad. It's huge, and we try to cover everything. We try to get things in the mag that people may not have thought, and there's certainly things that people do on motorcycles. I love motorcycle people, obviously, and we just come up with some crazy things to do on 2 wheels.
Yeah, you're not wrong there.
Yeah.
I do have fond memories of seeing Michael Doohan ride around here a few years ago without a helmet.
Yep.
And I think he clearly loved it.
Yeah. Oh, mate, the passion comes through. It's great, and I was there that year too. Yeah, it's a special sport we've got here, and I'm sort of glad we're a niche minority sport. I don't want everyone doing it. I like having it to ourselves, but yeah, it's great.
Now, sadly, former editor Ken Wootton passed away in Europe recently.
Yep.
I guess he's sadly missed.
He is, yeah, particularly at an event like this. It was just a fixture here, and when he gave me this jacket back when I first started 10 years ago. So yeah, it is weird not having him here, but his sister is here, and his nephew Sean as well. They've been out in the pits, and she brought us a big slab of her famous brownie. I've just eaten 3 of them and I'm a bit full, but yeah, she's carrying on. Her name's Yen. Tradition carries on as well, but yeah, he's definitely missed, particularly by the support guys in the Aussie support guys in the paddock. He was normally there for them, so yeah, they're missing him.
I understand there is a bit of a tribute happening this weekend too.
Yes, yeah, I'm not sure exactly when and where. It seems to be changing a little bit, but there'll be a minute silence at some stage, and that's a nod from the international community that they're missing him as well. So, yeah, it's important.
Well, having spoken to you before about this, I realise how broadly respected Ken is, and it's really interesting the impact he's had around the world.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, it's amazing how much one man could fit into a day of work. He was the cyborg, we used to call him, because he just powered on and on and on. So, yeah, it's little things are unfolding all the time where someone says, oh, Ken used to do this for me, and I was just shake my head and think, how did he fit that in as well? But, yeah, you know, we'll never fill the space totally, but we're gradually picking up where he left off.
Well, I understand there was a memorial service held down here for him
Yep.
after his passing. Can you just tell us a bit about what happened on that day?
Yeah, it was a great day. I mean, obviously it was very sad, but a lot of people, whenever they start thinking about Ken, you start off thinking sad when he passed away, but it's not long before you're smiling about him because he was such a character, and you know, he was a very interesting guy to work for. All of us that actually worked for him have seen both sides of the bloke, and he was a hard taskmaster. But you know, having said that, there's me as editor now. There's quite a few AMCN staff over there running the Australian Grand Prix Corporation, or helping them do what they do down here. So yeah, we all sort of evolved into his junior burgers, he used to call us, and we all sort of evolved into senior parts of the motorcycle community now. So he obviously knew what he was doing. But yeah, I think it must have been at least 600 people all fitted into the media centre over there, which he spent a lot of time there. And I was lucky to get an opportunity to speak for a little bit, and many other people were as well, just on what he did and how he was. And, yeah, it was a really good event. It was pissing down, of course, because it was Phillip Island, but yeah, it was a good event.
So tell us about your bike.
Okay, it's a Harley Street Glide. It's a 2011 model. It's a great bike to ride. I describe it as a big, powerful armchair, particularly out in the country where I'm doing most of my miles and kilometres. You can get out on the back roads, and looking at that motorcycle touring atlas of Australia, you pick the rides that aren't the main highways, and they're a lot of fun, a lot of enjoyment, and I think that it's a real sense of freedom.
Given that you're retired now, I understand that you've now been appointed chair of the Vic Roads Motorcycle Advisory Committee.
Motorcycling is really a very important component in the transport solution, particularly with congestion. Motorcycle sales up 50% in the last 5 years shows that more and more people are looking to use motorcycles for all sorts of reasons, but commuting is one of them, whether it be a motorcycle or a scooter. A lot of scooters being used, but they are environmentally friendly, they use less fuel, they're far less congestion, easier to park, less space. Add all that together, and when we're looking at some of the transport solutions for the future, motorcycling has got to play a very important role. I think motorcycling is something that all people can enjoy, and I remember one famous motorcycle brand used to have a saying, I think, you meet the nicest people on their brand, and they had a wonderful big advertisement which had rows and rows of motorbikes with people from all walks of life. I think that's really what I'd say is that it's something everyone can enjoy, and it's a lot of fun.
At the Sydney Motorcycle Show, Just Bikes ran a bike build-off competition.
It's basically the bikes were built previous to the show, and then they were pulled down to scratch again, down to a motor, and then from there they were built back up. We're about halfway through, well, roughly over halfway through now. We're up against these guys from the Gold Coast that are building a Harley and giving us a bit of competition. They reckon the votes are going a little bit their way, but I think we'll pull it off in the end.
Well, tell us about your bike. What have you got?
This is a GB400. Been cammed up, and we put a different carby on it. Pretty much started from scratch. We ripped the bike to pieces, cut the frame up, chopped it up, and did our own spin on a salt flat racer. It's really the people that are out here looking around that like bikes, they're the ones that are voting on it, and they're the ones that are going to determine who actually wins the trophy.
A lot of work was put into both bikes. The salt flat racer was impressive, with blackened carbon fibre decal and wrapped pipes. Lots of visitors to the show checked them out. The single-seat Harley with ape hangers proved very popular. In the end, it took out the trophy. Better luck next year, Mark.
I found myself back committed to the industry maybe 5 or 6 years ago, which is when I landed the role in Underbelly, and that's sort of shown people that, you know, a little bit about what I can do, and you know, I can stretch my legs a little with that sort of a piece of canvas. And I moved on to Rescue Special Ops, and I just finished on Terra Nova, which is a Spielberg project up in Queensland.
Cool. So how did you get involved in motorcycling?
It was actually out of practicality, and it was when I was 30. I was living up on the northern beaches, and I was working as a doorman in the King's Cross, believe it or not. 5'8" white guy working as a bouncer in the Cross was a different career choice, but yeah, so it just made it really easy. I thought, well, I'll get a bike because I can ride, you know, up and down from the northern beaches to the city of a night time. I can park it pretty much anywhere, and that practicality sort of led to just an instantaneous appreciation. I mean, I've always sort of been a bit of a go-getter, and I spent some time in the military. I don't mind pushing myself physically. I don't mind sort of challenges and the adrenaline and the rush, you know, you sort of get from riding a bike is, you know, it's a wonderful feeling, and the freedom of it as well. And so, as much as it was about practicality initially, my weekend started to become about going for rides and finding interesting pieces of road and talking to other riders about, you know, where you should go, where you shouldn't go, and what were great rides. So, yeah, it was a great development.
And so, when did you get into Harleys?
A lot of my mates have ridden Harleys, and they, you know, and I actually know a lot of guys who work in the advertising industry who've represented Harley Davidson as a brand. And the one thing that they've said is that it's actually a love mark. It's something that people, you know, they're so passionate about the brand of Harley Davidson. You know, they're very protective of it. They talk about it with such passion, and it's something that you know, a brand that you love. You know, you really get attached to it, and you know, they never ride anything else.
So is this your first time at the GP?
Yes, it is my first time at the GP. So as an ambassador for Red Kite, they're the official charity of the GP this year, and I've been, you know, lucky enough to come down and you know, help create more awareness for Red Kite as an organisation.
One of the things about the motorcycle community is there's a vast amount of charity work that goes on, all types of motorcycle groups and individuals, and it's great to see the Grand Prix is actually encouraging that sort of activity. Yeah, absolutely, and it is something that that you know, it doesn't take much to see that. You know, motorcycle community are very generous with their time, and it doesn't matter what. You know, there's a lot of riders who have charity rides, massive charity rides all throughout Australia, and individuals. I think there's Texan and Bundy's. You know, he's the guy who gets around with his dog on the motorcycle. He's an advocate for Red Kite and for a few other charities as well. It's I think that speaks a lot about, you know, the people who ride, you know, and you know, what sort of people they are. Now, we have heard on the grapevine that there is a proposal before council for the building of a motorcycle-specific track up here. How's that progressing?
Yeah, as council, we've been holding discussions with various groups about options for Mount Panorama, but one that has come has been a circuit for motorcycles up here on Mount Panorama. So those discussions are ongoing, so we'll continue with those discussions.
So no hints, is it looking positive?
Oh, look, we would love to see, Bathurst Regional Council would love to see motorcycles come back to Bathurst, obviously. It's a fantastic event, they bring good crowds, so we need to work through a few different things associated with that, with noise, pollution and all those sort of things. So environmental aspects we need to look at very closely with anything we do on Mount Panorama. So how we can manage it is something we're working on and working with the people that do approach us.
If the track was built, would it have to fall within the 5 events which have been legislated for Mount Panorama, or would it be outside that?
It'd be hard to say. If it did come onto the track proper, so the current facility, then yes, we would probably have to enact that 5th track closure, so to speak, or the Act of Parliament to close the whole road. However, it's at this point in time we're not looking at that avenue.
So essentially what we could have, and underline could here, is that a track which is motorcycle only for racing purposes that can operate quite a few times during the year outside of the limitations on Mount Panorama.
I couldn't elaborate on that any further than what I already have.
we never contemplated moving retail to here, but we looked at the building and it was just magnificent, the postmodern style, everything just said it needs Harley. And we bought Harley around here and it's been a great fit. It's a beautiful building.
Now, how many bikes would you have on the floor at any one time?
Oh, at the moment we've probably got around about 70 bikes.
And that's just in the Harley side?
Just in the Harley side.
And what other sorts of markers have you got here?
We've got Triumph as well. There'll probably be another 50 Triumphs there. And also we've got the Spider range as well. There's probably 2 or 3 of those.
I flew down to Daytona, Florida, and he felt sorry for me because I'm flying all over the country to locate this fellow. And he gave me tickets to an event at Daytona. And the event, they had an area for what they call Harley Heaven for their Harley customers. And I thought, that's a fabulous name. If we ever get the Harley agency and open up a dealership, we should use Harley Heaven. And that's how the name started. In fact, in a short while, the Harley Heaven name, I think, is better known than the Peter Stevens name. Whereas the Peter Stevens name's actually been going for 40 years, and Harley Heaven's only been going 20.
Okay, this is the main reason we came here, is we were looking for a workshop for 10 years. That would be big enough to be able to service our customers. And we came here and had the ramp so we could be received in reception here. So we've got around about 40 technicians in this building, as well as engineering department.
Now, you've got a Harley owners group from here.
Yes.
I understand it was the first one in the country.
The Osshog, yes, it was first started here. First one out of North America, started right here at Harley Heaven. Yep.
And still going?
Still going.
After all those years?
Yes, yep, it's got a good following. It's got about 150 members at the moment. What we've got here are some fantastic collectibles from the British and American market of past eras. And they're basically a collection of bikes which we've had the fortune to trade in and purchase, and some of it's private collectors by the owners, and the rest we've traded over time. And we've got a huge range which has been warehoused for some time, and we're now building a home for them in this area at the back of the Harley Heaven City Triumph building.
Have people found it easy to adjust to the move? After so many years in the motorcycle strip, it is a big change to move up here.
Yes, we were very nervous about moving off Elizabeth Street, particularly the strong history that Elizabeth Street has. And to our surprise, all the changes which have happened with traffic, etc., has allowed this street to create its own culture. People can come here and park out the front and hang out and not be in the marauds that are just normal city traffic. So it's been actually a positive move for motorcyclists. They come here and they can pull up in the street and just hang out.
Well, that was a great show, mate.
That was a great show. I'm going to take this bike for a ride.
I thought I could take it for a ride.
No, you can't ride this bike. You cannot ride this bike.
All right, you take it and I'll take the pictures.
We'll see you next week.
See ya.